Welcome, I'm Bill Wake. This is my weekly summary of the work we've done on Twitch. Lately, we've been working on a personal finance tool called Fiume that's designed to help with medium and long-term planning. Our focus this past week, well, the start of it was really persistence and then editing. But I think it's easier to explain if I show how we edit, delete streams, groups, or scenarios, and then the persistence. So we'll do it that way. Along the way, we fixed a weird bug, triggered where click on a button and it would trigger all the buttons on that line. Kind of a weird thing. And then we worked on our specifications for dates. They referenced a person's birth date. And before we'd done it in a way that captured it at the time that you created the date reference, but that didn't accommodate if you updated the person's name or birthday. Now we reference the current copy. And then finally, we did some cleanup at the end of the week on our tests. We had started using Swift testing, but we still had a few tests using the old XC test framework. So we switched those over. We made our names consistently snake case, and we use an or the for the prefix to a name instead of calling something tests. This is a convention Jeff Langer came up with. Let's start with a demo and then we'll look at the code involved. All right, so here I've set up some scenarios. I've got alternatives for Social Security, and you've got two things going on. I can either get $1,000 a month if I start now, or I get $8,000 a month if I start in January 2035. These are not realistic numbers. Okay, but anyway, you plot this as two scenarios, so it generates two graphs. They're two alternatives. And let's just delete the whole scenario case, and we'll just go down to nothing. So I'll click on the trash can, and it's gone. Now we're just left with a flat line. There's no information on plans at all. You're on a plan view to start with that represents the line. You click its delete button and it's going to remove that subtree. It goes to plans and calls remove. And then plans delegates the actual removal to the plan object. And it also marks the was changed flag so that we know that plans itself was changed. And when content view sees on change, it knows it needs to do a save. So it saves that off through the persistence mechanism. So it gets you from end to end. You delete something, it flows through, the views update, and it's saved. All right, and let's see the code for that. So the core of it is we've got this scenario. Well, in this case, it's an entry, so it's a group with the trash can button gets put on it. So you can see the icon, the image icon here, the text name, an entry, and then we got the button. This is a trash can with an action of plans.remove and another button for the plus to add things on there. Okay, so if you click this plus, you call plans.remove. Now, I mentioned we had an error. If you clicked plus or trash can, it actually ran both. I don't know, seems like a Switch UI bug to me, but the solution is if you call button style plain, it doesn't have that behavior. So we eventually found that random article that solved it for us. This is calling plans.remove. Let's go over there. Plans.remove is codable, so it's can be automatically written out, and it has this was changed flag. So when you call remove, it calls plans.remove. This name maybe could be better, but it's the top level plan in our system. So it's the top of the tree basically. So you call remove and you set the changed flag. Okay, well, calling remove goes to plan, and here's remove. It deletes something as a descendant of the tree here. So if this node has no children, then it can't possibly have this descendant. If one of its children is the descendant, we just delete that. Otherwise, well, and then we go through all its children. Really, this should be in a separate block to detect if it's deleted. It can't be deleted again. But in any case, if it's not found there, we go through the descendants and remove it from whichever one of them has it. Now, the remove, we come back to plans, we mark it was changed. Well, the content view is our top level view, and it has a mechanism to say, I can monitor variables. And so it says, if plans.was changed changes, Well, I'm going to make sure it's changed to true. And if so, I'm going to clear that. So we are saving it as saying this is the current version. And we do the save mechanism. So the save call takes the file name and it takes the plans object and writes that out. If there are any errors, they get caught here. And then there's another view here. If there's an error, it can show an alert. Okay, and then finally for that part is persistence, the two open and save mechanisms or functions. All right, so save creates a JSON encoder. It attempts to encode, in this case, plans into JSON, and then it goes and finds the directory or the file to write to and converts it into data on disk. It does the write with atomic and complete file protection, so no other threads are involved, and when you're done writing, only then do you replace it. Open's very similar, just kind of the opposite. All right, the next thing we did was somewhat small, but we have this notion of a date specifier, and currently you can specify that the date is unchanged relative to another one, or it should be set to a particular month and year, or it should be a person and their age. And so this used to have just I think it had the name and the birth date in place and maybe something else. But we said, no, let's just store the ID and then look it up later. We don't want to store, well, earlier we decided we don't want to store the whole person in memory. And the problem with storing just those fields is if you change the name or you change the birth date, then it throws things. I mean, it seems like it should be different, but this would have the old value. So that didn't seem consistent. So we updated that. The only place this shows up is description. You need the people to look up an age. So you find the ID, the person by their ID. And then if they have a name, you use it. If you don't find the person, then you mark it person not found. But in any case, you show their name and their age. Okay, so not a major change, but just kind of in line with the kind of editing we're developing. And then finally, this is a demo of the Swift testing view of things. So we modified these so it was an XC test case. Swift testing, what's up top here? You're using this import testing instead of import XC test. You mark your test cases with @test, and we've used snake case for this. And the idea is with Jeff Langer's naming convention, if you read these, a stream doesn't merge when names differ. A stream knows its sign. And then finally, you can see expect. You don't need assert equal because the expect code handles if they're not equal, it shows you the values of the two left and right hand side of the equals. Okay, so with that, I feel like we've got all our tests converted to the more modern form now, or the forthcoming form. It's coming out in the next version of Xcode. We were able to download it a little early. So I think we're ready to go in terms of writing new tests. We can just consistently use Xcode, and I'm happy about that. All right, so next week we're going to continue the idea of editing streams, groups, and scenarios. I think we'll move the delete button off and make it part of the editing page, but I wanted to kind of make it available now so my one user can enter some data, and if he makes a mistake, he can delete that item and re-enter it. So I think that'll get him going for now, and hopefully by the end of next week we have editing working across everything much more easy. And then I haven't decided if we're going to try and do something to move streams. So kind of editing is more editing the tree in place. Moving would be like drag a subtree to a different area. I don't know. I'm not sure that our component that displays trees actually has any support for that, and it's a little complicated. So I don't know if we'll get there or not. But in any case, after we finish some editing things, we're going to go on to the other major way of representing money. The first we have is the stream of money, like a salary or an annuity or something. And the other way is a pool, which is assets and liabilities. You have a mortgage is a big liability, or you have a 401k, you've got some assets. So we'll hopefully move on to addressing those. And I think that'll be sort of a major point for us to get those pieces together. I think you can make a lot of good scenarios with that. Beyond that, we're going to make scenarios that can change their value based on another value. So there's a rule in Social Security that you can have half of a spouse's Social Security if they die. So we'll make a value that can do a fraction. And then we also have other ideas, some things for inflation, triggering things to death dates instead of just birth dates, and other extensions. We'll see how it goes. But I think we're going to hit a major milestone with that. All right, if you'd like to join us, it's Monday through Thursday, 2 to 4:30 Eastern Time or 6 to 8:30 p.m. UTC. xp123.com/Twitch will take you to the live session. And if you prefer time delayed, xp123.com/YouTube takes you over there. They're a week or probably 2 weeks behind and lightly edited. All right, well, thanks for joining today, and I hope I can see you in the future. Bye-bye.